Good day all. You are all welcome to the question and answer session of Client Aspire Limited, organized in respect of Osiri University, Nebraska, USA. The purpose of this session is to allow everyone here to be able to ask one or two questions as regard the university so that you can have clear guidance as regard the university and what it stands for. So that is the purpose of the section. So we'll be allowed to ask questions while the Vice Chancellor is also with us here. Is going to respond to each of our questions as the Hello? Am I audible?
You are now.
Okay. So we welcome each and every one of us to this wonderful section, to the question and answer session organized by Client Aspire in respect of Osiri University. Client Aspire Limited is the recognized and accredited student recruitment agency of the university. So the purpose of organizing this session is so that we can have clear guidance on some of the issues that may bother our mind as regard the university. And today we are having the Vice Chancellor of the university with us today. So if you have any questions, we'll be allowed to answer our questions, and we are going to get required answers for each of our questions as the program progress. However, for us to kickstart the program, I think I'm going to ask some general questions from the Vice Chancellor. So after the general questions, then I'm going to open the floor for others that may also intend to answer one or two questions. Vice Chancellor, sir.
Okay, I didn't know. I appreciate you giving me that title of Vice Chancellor, but I'm just really a founder, right? I'm a founder. Well, maybe I should consider that title. We do have a president, actually, Dr. Amarachi Amugo, and
Okay.
she's based in the UK. And obviously, I'm also on the board of Osiri University. But I have to tell you, the title of Vice Chancellor or Chancellor sounds really good.
So, as regard the question and answer session, I think let me start by asking some questions. Number one, please, can you tell us briefly about Osiri University in general?
Well, if I may, I'll just maybe share a few things about me and then segue into Osiri University so that you know, so that you know who you're talking to. So my name is J.K. Osiri, and I was born in Benin, one of the poorest countries in the world, according to UN and all that. My parents are from Nigeria, and I've had the privilege of getting a wide spectrum of education in Cotonou, Benin, in Nigeria, and of course in the US. In the US, I did my undergraduate degree at Grambling State University, which is a historical, what they call Black university. I've also been to a predominantly what they call PWI, predominantly white institution, LSU, Louisiana State University. Those two are public universities in the US. I've had experience going to private universities like Case Western Reserve, Ivy League like Harvard University. I've taught as a professor at Washington State University in the Northwest, not Washington, D.C., but Washington State in the Northwest part of the US. And currently, I'm a professor at the University of Nebraska. So that is I have an extensive background when it comes to education in the US. We actually started Osiri University in 2020 when the pandemic hit. So we saw a lot of devastation in the educational regime, not just in the US, but across the world, especially in African countries. And we wanted to do something about it. And we said, why not we start an online platform to teach people. And we actually started just to make a difference. So we were offering free courses to Africans and people who also wanted to join who were not Africans. They all came to take these free courses. And then we began to award certificates at that point. We also said, you know what, why don't we even go further to empower people? So we began to organize competitions. We call it Unleash Yourself competition, where students would then come, not students, but these are actually graduates, they will come and take about 3 or 4 courses. 3 or 4 courses in an area, and that will prepare them, to start a business. And they will compete in the business plan competition, and we give them some seed money to start their business. So we did that, just trying to empower people. It wasn't until last year, just last year, 2023, that we received authorization and approval from the state of Nebraska to begin to award degrees. So that was when really the degree granting aspect of the university was born. So that was how last year we had our first cohort start with us in January of this year. On our master's degree programs, we decided to start with only 2 master's degree programs. And I'm really excited to share with you that many of those who started with us in January took the fast track. Instead of taking 2 years to finish their master's, they will be finishing in 1 year. So they are graduating December 8th, next month, in about 3 weeks. And they have the opportunity to actually come here to the US to graduate in person or be part of a virtual graduation ceremony. So that is a nutshell of the chronology of Osiri University. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor, for the very strong overview and introduction. And another question I want to ask is, now you are talking about application for this year, that we are rolling out application for this year. What is the deadline for those that intend to apply? What's the possible deadline for them to apply?
Well, actually, our deadline has passed. Our deadline was November 15th. Obviously, we are doing this because of our partnership. We believe in what Client Aspire does. You have a heart for students. You do a great job in the educational space. You convinced us to extend the deadline for your organization, that you can talk to more students to join in and give more opportunities. And since we actually want to extend that to you and to students also, we decided to do that. So the deadline has passed. So anyone interested in joining through you can do so, but they should do that very quickly.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving Client Aspire that opportunity, and thanks for believing in our mission and dream. Also, I also want to ask if is there any general requirements or prerequisite to enroll for the MSc program or the MBA program, especially considering the fact that in Nigeria and maybe in some African countries, we have some other degree-related certificate like HND and the likes.
Yeah. So generally speaking, the prerequisites to enroll in one of our 6 master's degree programs are a 4-year degree, HND or bachelor's. So if you have an HND or a bachelor's degree, you can enroll in our master's degree directly. I tell people that the idea of a PGD, postgraduate diploma, where you do like a 1-year purgatory sort of a thing before you now go on to your master's degree, or doesn't really apply in the US. It's not very common here. So if you have an HND, if you have a bachelor's degree, so that's 4 years, you can apply straight to a master's degree. We have 6 master's degree programs. In addition to that, the other prerequisite is you have to have a strong command of the English language. So obviously, many of you here understand English, you speak English. We don't require TOEFL or those kind of exams. And the reason is because we are trying to eliminate barriers to education. So we are not requiring TOEFL, but it doesn't mean that we don't value your ability to speak English, to write well. And what often happens is when people come to us, when we discover that their English is not strong enough, we'll advise them. So be ready for that. If we think your writing is not good, we may have to tell you to pause and maybe take another course, class that will strengthen your English writing or your English speaking skill. So in a nutshell, prerequisite is a bachelor's degree or HND plus proficiency in English. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Can you shed light on the PhD program, because I could see that like the university is also running some PhD program. So can you share more light on the program?
Yes. Before I share the PhD program, let me quickly run through all our master's degree programs. So we have a master's degree, we have a Master of Arts in Entertainment and Performance. We have a Master of Arts in Inclusive Education, a Master of Business Administration, MBA in Sustainable Business Leadership. Now, these three masters I just mentioned, you can have, if you have any degree, you can enter into this master's degree, into this master's program. So a lot of people are stuck in the idea that, oh, if I study chemistry, then I cannot get an MBA. I have to do something to the MBA. No, that's not. The US is a little bit different. So I am a prime example of that. So my bachelor's degree is actually in chemistry. I'm a chemist by training. My PhD is also in chemistry. I'm a chemist by training. When I say so, but I'm currently a business professor, and I've taught at some of the top US universities teaching business at those universities, top two, right? So these are flagship institutions. So I really want to encourage people to break out of the mold from, of thinking I am pigeonholed. I didn't want to do chemistry or I didn't want to do physics. Now I'm stuck with it. No, you are not. You feel free to move around. Obviously, the transition may be different if you're going the other way around. Like if you're trying to go from business to physics, it may be more challenging. And so just kind of keep that in mind. The other master's degree programs that we have is Master of Science in Data Science and Information Systems. We also have a Master of Science in Food Systems and Sustainable Agriculture. We have a Master of Science in Smart Manufacturing. For the Data Science and Information Systems, we also welcome people with any background, right? Obviously, we prefer if you have a computer science background, IT background, we prefer that. But we've also seen people who have any background come to us because of the proliferation of technology. They do well. There's an additional prerequisite for that particular program, and that is Python. You need to have some Python background to do well in our data science and information systems. So if you have business, bachelor's in business, bachelor's in agriculture, or anything bachelor's, but you also have a Python background, some kind of training, you can come and get a master's degree with us in data science and information systems. So kind of keep that in mind. Now, you may say, okay, but I don't have Python background. What do I do? You could go online. There are some free resources. You could go to YouTube and start learning Python. Between now and February, you could start learning Python. You can even look around in your local area where you live. There are some maybe paid Python training programs you could enroll just to get some Python training. Now, we also at Osiri, every now and then we will offer some Python training. Those are paid Python programs. We will also let you know. So, but the point is, no matter your degree, don't let the fact you don't have Python stop you from enrolling, but know that you will need that. So you can enroll for our data science and information systems, even if you don't have a computer background, so far as you are willing to learn Python between now and February. Does that make sense? I mean, that is very important. So yes, you can, okay. Now, Now, for the food systems and sustainable agriculture, obviously, again, we'll prefer a master's in agriculture, a bachelor's in agriculture, a bachelor's in the science field. But if you don't, that's okay also. So far as you're willing to buckle up and learn, we teach the courses in a way that sort of bring you up to speed. So you don't need a bachelor's in that field or in the science area to do the food systems and sustainable agriculture. Now, when it comes to the Master of Science in Smart Manufacturing, we need you to have a bachelor's in engineering, computer science, in the technical field, because that program is very computational oriented. So you'll be learning a lot of how to use technology to model manufacturing plans and how to make manufacturing more efficient. So you need to have that modeling acumen. So engineering, mechatronics, science background, those people will do well. Computer science, those people will do well in our smart manufacturing program. Now, moving on to the PhD program, we do have a PhD in business innovation and applied interdisciplinary studies. So notice it's an emphasis on two things. One is business innovation, and the other part is, hey, we're trying to connect innovation to something. So that is what the PhD does. We're trying to activate something using innovation. So if you can come to us with any background for the PhD. That's the beauty of it. So you may have an interest in politics or government, or the humanities. You say, you want to, maybe there's a problem you're trying to solve in that field, in politics, in government, in education. We'll give you robust training in innovation so that you can innovate in that field, right? So that is why it's an interdisciplinary PhD. So you have to come open-minded and willing to explore. So you can have a background in engineering, work, any background whatsoever, you will be learning how to innovate in that field or in any field of your choice, by the way, right? You could also combine 3 fields and so on and so forth. So that is what that PhD does overall. Now, for our PhD program, you'll find that the first year of the PhD, for the most part, is if you're starting in January or February, right, next year, the first year, typically you'll be taking 500 level classes. Those 500 level classes are our master's level, our master's courses, right? So that's your first year. Then when you go into the second year, you start taking exclusive PhD courses, like research methods, and things like that, advanced writing, dissertation, and things like that, right? So our PhD program, therefore, welcomes people without master's degree, right? Because the first year of the PhD is like you're taking master's degree courses, right? So you could actually earn a master's degree along the way. So after your first year, second year, you can earn a master's degree while you continue with your PhD program with us. So that is one advantage of our PhD program. The other difference is obviously it takes a little bit longer. So in addition to the coursework for the PhD program, there is also teaching requirement because we want our PhD students to be well-rounded. It's not just not fly-by-night program. If you're thinking about a fly-by-night program, this is not a place to look for or to look at. When I got trained as a PhD candidate, I took courses. I also was giving courses to teach. So that's how you become a good teacher, by practicing how to teach. So you will teach at Osiri University. That's part of the training. Sometimes you may even have to assist a professor in teaching. That's part of the PhD training, in addition to the coursework. And of course, the third part is your dissertation. You have to write a dissertation. You have to think about a problem you want to solve in the field, and then connect it to innovation. So So that is in a nutshell what the PhD program looks like. And at the minimum, it should take about 3 years. Again, that's minimum. On the average, about 5 years. In the US, 5 years is typically the average to get a PhD. I have seen people spend 7 years, 8 years getting a PhD. It took me personally, I got my PhD in 4 years um, in the US. So that's in a nutshell about the PhD program.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. As regard I think the MA program in inclusive education catch my attention because of my background. And earlier, I think you said somebody from any background can take up the program. And then I'm saying that maybe you are saying that even the MA inclusive education is going to have a package like having certificate, professional certificate in Montessori education. So how does it work? Then what's the
Yes.
benefit of the Montessori education when you have it?
Yes. So the Montessori philosophy of teaching children is very different from the traditional way of learning. Montessori has its roots from a medical doctor called Maria Montessori in Italy, but it's become very popular in the US. There are two bodies that control Montessori in the US and around the world. The two prominent bodies are AMS, the American Montessori Society. The other one is MACTI. MACTI is the Montessori Accreditation Council for Teacher Education. So they have parameters and courses and things that people must learn in order to be able to teach Montessori. And specifically, they have courses that will help you become a Montessori teacher at the infant toddler level. That's one level. There's also early childhood level, which is like around from 3 to like 6, right? Then there's elementary level, elementary 1, elementary 2. Then there's also secondary Montessori and so on and so forth. So at Osiri, we're going to be focusing on early childhood and elementary Montessori. That's a great place to start. Now, what makes Montessori unique again, just if you think of, if you walk into a Montessori classroom, it is very inspiring. You will see young kids learning to be autonomous, children learning to be autonomous. They are moving around and selecting objects, playing with it, working with it, interacting with those objects. They are learning math by doing, by touching, by feeling. At Montessori, they have kids tie their own shoes. They have kids use real knife to cut fruits. So they're teaching kids real practical. They have a course called Practical Life for Kids, right? They teach kids to serve. You take turns in serving other kids. And in the Montessori approach, the teacher doesn't stand there and dish out knowledge to kids. The teacher becomes part of the learning process and guides the students. And the teacher observes a lot. The teacher is an observer. And when he or she notices interest, in particular, the student is interested in an area, the teacher tends to nurture that interest for the kids. So that is what makes Montessori unique, very, very unique. It's almost like you're customizing education for the kids. And there's a lot of data that shows that it's one of the best approaches to learning. Some of the transformative leaders in the US, both in business and in government, are Montessori graduates. For example, one of the Google founders, is a Montessori student. I had my first daughter actually went to a Montessori school, and then we homeschooled her a bit. She's now back in the public school here in the U.S. in Lincoln, and she's a gifted child in the public school. So because of I want to give some credit to myself too, because I homeschooled her as well. So I would say the Montessori training plus my homeschooling, have allowed her to become a gifted child in the public school. Anyway, so those are some of the advantages. It really helps kids become free and autonomous and independent. So what we are trying to do then is, with our Master of Arts in Inclusive Education, we are given an opportunity for students to get their master's and also get the Montessori teacher credential in addition to that master's degree. So they are getting two things in one, right? So they are getting those two things. So we encourage you to do that. Now, in order to get that credential, we have to do a few more things, not just the coursework, right? There's also a requirement. That is the only program that we have at Osiri, because all of our programs are online, 100%. But that is the only program that requires at least a 2-week in-person training, right? So because most of our students are from Nigeria, we decided we're going to do it in Nigeria, do the in-person training in Nigeria. So if you're anywhere in Africa, even in the US, this is an opportunity for you to come to Nigeria. I will be there myself. What we'll do is we're going to fly out. We're going to have one of our distinguished Montessori professors here in the US. Her name is Kathy Sweet. In fact, she's over the Montessori program at Osiri University. She lives and breathes Montessori, right? So we're going to fly her out to Nigeria to teach you in person for those 2 weeks. So that's one piece. And the other piece too is that the AMS MACTI requires that you do a practicum. So in addition to the coursework, in addition to the in-person, 2-week in-person training, there is a 9-month practicum that you have to do. You know, so if you start with that program in January, February next year, right? July is where we are going to do the in-person. Professor Kathy Sweet is going to be in Nigeria in July for that in-person 2-week training. And then August, you will start your practicum. The practicum essentially is you working or doing an internship or some sort of experience for 9 months at a Montessori program in your area. If you don't have a program in your area, we are thinking about ways to be creative. Maybe you can start one with a couple of kids in your area. So anyway, I will just stop there. So that is what makes that program a little bit more unique. We have more requirements from the bodies in charge of the Montessori credential. Back to you, sir.
Thank you. I'm really glad about the program, because with the package of the program, by implications, you know, in the US and some other countries of the world, teaching profession is a professional rule, which involves professional certification, which means that anybody that obtained that certificate, if they travel to the US or other countries like United Kingdom, they can easily move into the mainstream educational system.
Absolutely. I can vouch for that, because Montessori is very standardized. I mean, they have objects, they have materials, they have things that you have to learn, right? You have to learn those things. So once you show your Montessori credential, anyone that understands Montessori, any school that understands it will respect that. They say, yeah, you know what you're doing, and you will know what you're doing, because you're going to be taught by some of the best people in the field. Like I said, Professor Kathy Sweet, she's actually a Nebraskan, and she is the founder of Nebraska Montessori Network, which is a network of all the Montessori schools here in Nebraska. So she's the founder of that, and she's the director of the Montessori education program at Osiri University. So I mean, you are going to be working with the best and taught by the best in the craft. So that credential is going to mean a lot. It's going to be very heavy, for sure. Indeed. In fact, I'll be honest with you, my wife and I are actually considering enrolling in that program as well. Yep.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great. So at this point, we are going to open the floor for us. If you have 1 or 2 questions I want to answer, or we need a clarification as regard the application for the programs, or any guidance as regard the university and the program, I think the floor is open for us. We can unmute ourselves if we intend to ask questions. So participants, the floor is yours.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Am I audible? Okay. Yeah, thank you for the brief overview. My question is on the admission process. So, like, what documents are required for admission? And again, is there an entrance exam or interview as part of the selection process? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, we really want to democratize education. We are removing barriers to entry. Okay, we want you to come and learn. Now, what that means is we'll make it easy for you to come in, but you have to be ready because it's not easy to stay. It's just almost like the fact that we say your talent will make a way for you and get you into the door, but your character will keep you there and sustain you there. So that is our model. We give you a chance to come in, but you better be ready because we've had people come in and they face the rigor because we you know, and they drop out or they say, I'm going to pause this. So, but of course, we also have people who are scaled through. Now, what do you need? You just need a copy of your bachelor certificate or your HND. If you have that, a copy of that, or any proof at all that shows that you have finished your first degree, any proof whatsoever, that is enough. Just upload that, we'll give you admission. Now, we will give you 3 to 4 months to then apply for your original transcript from your former university, and they will send it to us directly. You can also submit a copy. If you have a copy of that, you can submit it during your application. That's fine. But that is not official. The official transcript is the one we get directly from your school. And it can be sent to our email, KAABO, anyway, at osiriuniversity.org. I mean, you'll get that information once you join in. So again, we'll give you admission just based on the copies that you have. No entrance exams. Just come in, and then you have about 3 or 4 months to get out, to have your transcript sent to us. They can email it, or they can also mail it to our office in the US here. All right. No entrance exam. I think I've answered those 2 questions. Did I miss anyone? Did I miss any question for you?
No.
Hello.
Hello, you have the floor. Patience. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you very much, sir, for the very elaborative explanations you've given so far. I know I came to know about Osiri University earlier this year, and I've actually been following up. So my question is this: it's regarding the fees, for the school. I'm actually looking forward to applying for a master's, in data science. So it's very interesting that I mean, what I've been saying or what you have been kind of preaching is that it's zero tuition fee, zero administration fee, exam fee zero. Like everything is literally zero except for registration fee, which is $100. So I just want to confirm this again, and then secondly, I want to know is it that that's what I'm to pay when entering for my masters, and then that's the only fee I get to pay until like I finish, like I don't have any, or is there something I'm supposed to be paying a month or per semester or by towards the end of the course? So like I just really need a good explanation on that. Thank you.
Sure, thank you, Patience. So, I mean, many of you have been through school, universities. Universities will charge you all kind of fees. There's library fee, there's technology fee, there is student union welfare fee. You can name them for me. There are so many fees out there that they charge, right?
Medical fee.
Medical fee, insurance. There's many fees, right? sometimes they have a new building fee or advancement fee. Anyway, there's also tuition. Okay, tuition is the most important and the most expensive fee, because tuition is basically paying to learn. That's tuition. At Osiri University, we don't charge tuition. I told you I've been experienced myself going to schools in the US. At Harvard, for example, I've taken a class, one class, and that's on the low end, for about $3,000. Just one course on African history, about $3,000. Just one course at Harvard. When I went to Case Western Reserve, tuition alone, not books, not room and board, $50,000 a year tuition, right? At Case Western Reserve in Ohio. Okay. Now, granted, that's a private school. If you come to a public school, it might be a little bit less than that, right? So value of our tuition is about $30,000 a year now, right? A whole year. That's way, so you're not paying tuition. You're not paying technology fees, no fees whatsoever, no library fees, no hidden fees. All we ask, and by the way, no registration fee too, right? All we ask you to pay is what we call administrative fee, because we do have people who are helping you out, who support you, and in different. So we need to keep the lights on. So admin fee, as of right now, is $599. Let's just say $600 a year. That's it. Is a yearly fee. Every year you are with us, on the 13th month, you pay it again. Well, on the 12th month, if you know you're going to be encroaching into the next year with us, you have to pay it again, right? So it's $599 a year. And that is a drop in the bucket. I just told you how much people pay for different fees here in the US. So that is the only thing you pay, $599 a year. Now, that may be a little bit different if you're in Nigeria. If in some countries, we allow you to pay in your local currency. If you're in Nigeria, you're actually getting a steal because the exchange rate is fluctuating. But in Nigeria, you're able to actually pay 600,000 naira, I think, a year. That's what we're asking you to pay. But if you actually go by the current exchange rate, it's about 1.4 million naira. Well, you're not paying that. So you just, Now, we know that even that fee, that small fee that we are assessing, is even difficult for some people to pay it, in Nigeria and in many parts of the world, in Africa, right? So we give opportunity for you to pay instrumentally as well. So you could pay it once, you could pay it twice, you could pay it 3 times, you could pay it 12 times. You spread it throughout the whole year and just pay a little bit, right? Again, the goal is we want to make sure there is no barrier for you to come and learn, but we also want to see some commitment on your side. So I hope I answered that question thoroughly.
Yes, yes, you did.
Yeah.
No, yeah. You did. Well understood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think it was Jessica. Jessica, yes. Thank you.
I think somebody, Mr. Teller, you raised up your hand.
Okay, yes. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Prof, for this wonderful program. I've already registered and I look forward to starting the program next year. But I just want to ask about the attestation of the certificate. So will it be done in the US as well? Thank you very much, sir.
By attestation, maybe I think you are suggesting accreditation or something of that sort, the validity of our certificates. Is that what you're asking about? Yes?
No, not really. It's about the attestation of the certificate. Just like we know for Nigeria, if we after graduating, we can do the attestation in the foreign Ministry of Education. So why in some other countries, like let's say for Malaysia or Hong Kong, you can also attest your certificate after collecting it.
Actually, that is strange to me. I mean, all my degrees from the U.S. I just get the degree from the U.S. I mean, so when I went to Grambling, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, maybe I'm missing something.
What he is trying to say is that, for example, for us now in Nigeria, sometimes when you come to Malaysia to work, they will ask you to go to Ministry of Education, Nigeria, to certify that that certificate is given by one of the institutions in Nigeria. So immediately the ministry in charge of that, in charge of university in Nigeria approve it, then the receiving country will see it as legit or legal. So it's not asking that, does it also apply in the US that Osiri University certificate, can the body involved, can they ratify that this certificate?
We don't do that here. No, we don't do that here. What we do is our degrees will say that the powers vested, you know, in, of course, the authority comes from the state government, right? The authority to award degrees comes from the state. So we have that authority to award degrees. So he will say that the authority vested on the council of the board of governors, right? The board of governors at Osiri University is granting this degree to this person. So he will say that on the certificate, that the board of governors has deemed it necessary to grant the degree to this person. So it will be on there, your name will be on there, the president will sign, and then someone from the board of governors, probably the chair of the board of governors, will sign. So that's how we do it here. You know, that's how it is on my bachelor's degree, on my PhD in the US. So, I mean, I don't have to take my degree and go back again to a ministry and say, attest, don't do that here. So you are getting a US degree, we have to go by the US standards, and we have that on the certificate itself, that the Board of Governors is granting you this degree. So I don't know if that's, I hope that maybe helps a little bit.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. I think Jessica raised her hand before.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Hello. I just want to know, because I'm from Uganda, East Africa, our payment detail is not there among the payment details that you have sent.
Yes.
So I just want to know if I can use the M-Pesa and I can deposit the Kenyan currency. Can it work for me in Uganda?
Well, I don't know. Again, we are probably the only university in the US that is trying to help Africans and other people in countries where they find it hard to pay in dollars. We are probably, and what we have done is we have managed to find a way to allow Nigerians to pay in Naira, Ethiopians to pay in Ethiopian birr, Ghanaians to pay in cedis. I think Kenyans can pay in Kenyan shillings. South Africans can pay in rands. I think that's about it. That's only arrangement that we have so far. So if you're in Uganda, you will have to pay in dollars. Every other country you have to pay in dollars, because we can only do so much. I mean, we are trying. We are really, trust me, Jessica, we are really, really trying. Now, Jessica, if we are saying that you can actually if you're saying that you can actually use M-Pesa to pay in Kenyan shillings, maybe that will work, because we have, if you could pay in Kenyan shillings through M-Pesa, that works, because we have that platform to pay in Kenyan shillings, but we don't have any platform to pay, in Uganda, in your currency in Uganda. Does that make sense, Jessica? Yeah. Okay. Maybe we have to bring Jessica back later on.
Yes.
It makes sense. Okay, good. So you can pay in Kenyan shillings. Can you do that? Can you pay in Kenyan shillings?
I'm getting you.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I can pay in Kenyan shillings using. Okay.
Good. Then we are good then. We are good then. Mhm.
Mr. Husseini, I can see that you are raising up your hand.
Yeah, thank you very much for the short clarification. So my question is this, sir. My question, Prof. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to ask about the program delivery. So, like, this, since it's going to be an online program, so my question is, what has been put in place, like the structure put in place that will guarantee that the class will be very smooth and there won't be any issues during the course of the program? Like, for example, some of us in Nigeria presently, we used to have issues with this webinar now. It took me about 30 minutes after before I was able to join. So is it that if we missed a class, there's going to be how do I put it? Is there going to be a, how do I put it to, are they going to have, is there going to be a recorded version of the class that I can access, or it must be live? So that's my question.
So, so learning is online, and there are two modes of learning. We have the self-paced. Every course has the self-paced component where you will log on to our platform. We use the Google Classroom platform. You go to the Google Classroom platform, you look at the different modules, you click on it, you access assignments, you access readings, you access videos and things like that you could watch. So there's an assignment, you do the assignment, there's a deadline, you have to submit your stuff on time. So there are self-paced assignments. That is one component of our learning approach. There's also the live session. So in addition to the self-paced, we complement that with the live sessions. Because most of our learners, work, they have other lives. So most of our live sessions are on weekends, or in the evenings, right? So we encourage you to join live. We encourage you to participate. And you are right. If you miss it, the recorded version will be available for you. You can watch it. You can watch the recorded version. Can you hear me?
Sorry, please. I'm still having the network issue. I can't. I think my network was cut short while you are trying to reply, while you're trying to give your response. Sorry.
What was the last thing you heard?
The self-paced part. I think where you're trying to explain the self-paced, that was the last thing I had.
Okay, so there's a self-paced component where you go online and access readings, materials, and things like that. You do your assignments, there are deadlines. I think we just lost him. Yes, he's having an issue with his network. Osiri is still there. Okay, so there's a self-paced, but then there's also live sessions. So in addition to the self-paced, we have the live sessions. So we have both of them. We have both. Every class will have both. So the live sessions are typically on weekends, maybe once or twice or 3 times a week. You get to meet with the professor and interact. If you miss it, they're usually recorded and uploaded in the Google Classroom for you to watch. There's typically an assignment for every live session. You have to watch it and write something that you've learned about that particular session. So if you miss it, you can watch later. Does that help you, Osiri? Yeah.
Mr. Kolawole, do you have any questions? Okay, there's a question in the chat box by Mr. Kolawole Victor that says that I found this on the school website. Start with Osiri Online and complete your degree with American College of Mediterranean in France or Spain.
Yeah.
Does this mean that Osiri University is an affiliate of?
No. I think maybe we should go online, and that's a good question. No, we is not an affiliate. We are a standalone university. The ACM is just one of our partner universities. So we have MOUs, collaborations with several universities. So that's one of them. So for example, we have an MOU with a university in South Africa that is for research, and to develop some programs. But the MOU we have for ACM, this American College of the Mediterranean, this university is an American university, but based in France and Spain, is only for the undergraduate program. So for our bachelor's program, there is an opportunity. It's just an opportunity, okay, for students who want to do 2 years with Osiri University and then do 2 years abroad. They can do that through ACM. Or, they can just do all 4 years with Osiri, and we will grant them the bachelor's degree, right? Obviously, if they do it with us, again, we have tuition free and all those benefits. That's an advantage. Or if they choose to go and finish their bachelor's with our partner institution, they will have to pay the partner institution's tuition, right? But we have that MOU or that collaboration with them. That's just what that is. Just an opportunity for our undergraduate students.
Any other questions? Okay, let me ask another question. As regard the issue of attending the graduation ceremony, so for those that compare the online program, maybe in Nigeria or Kenya or South Africa,
yes,
are they going to be having the opportunity to get the US visa to attend the program?
Yes. That is a very timely question, because we are actually excited right now, planning for our first graduation ceremony next, first week of December 8th. And those who started with us in January are invited if they are finishing, if they took the fast track, because the master's is 2 years, but we give you a fast track option to finish in 1 year for the most part, right? So they are coming to the US. Well, not all of them. Some of them who want to come, you have the option to come to the US. And I'm really excited because one of our students who went, he actually applied for like a short-term visa, because you only need like a short-term visa. Most times they'll give you like a 1 month or 3 month visa, even though you're coming just for 2 days or 3 days for your graduation. So one of our students actually went to the embassy for his visa. And based on our letter, and of course, he also had to show to the embassy that he was coming just for this graduation and then he'd be going back, because they want to make sure that you are not trying to scheme the system, right? So, and they gave him a 10-year multiple entry visa. That's just really powerful. And he told me that the reason was because they got excited when they read the letter we wrote. See, our motto is Ubuntu. Ubuntu is an African philosophy that says, I am because we are. And we are trying to espouse Ubuntu. So yes, you come into us, you learn business, you learn IT, you learn data science, you learn agriculture. But for what purpose? If you're learning it just to be selfish, we don't want you. But we want you to learn to go and make a difference in other people's lives, in your community, in your family members' lives. So that Ubuntu philosophy is very powerful. The student joined us and he said, I really like this Ubuntu. And we talked about that Ubuntu in his letter. And he said that the embassy interviewer got excited about that. And they told him, yeah, we'll give you a 10-year multiple entry visa. So he has never been to the US before, and he cannot wait. And we cannot wait to welcome him as well. So we give you that chance. Obviously, we don't guarantee visas. We don't guarantee visas, right? We can only support you. Again, in addition to the letter that we give you, you also have to make the case to them that you're coming back, because it's a non-immigrant visa, right? So that there are multiple factors that actually go into you getting a visa, but ours is just the first step and one of the main steps. One other thing, we've learned something from this process. We learned that in some countries you can get visa appointments easily. In other countries, it's not so easy. You have to actually apply in advance, 6 months in advance. So what we're planning to do now is we're going to move our graduation and make it in May or June in the summer. Okay, so starting from January, we're going to identify those who will graduate in May or June, and we'll give them letters now in January, December, I would say January, so they can start applying now, so that they can, have enough time to actually apply for their visa. So that's one of the things that we actually learned, and that may have affected people, who were trying to come in December, but because we gave them the letters in October, November, maybe they couldn't find an appointment, right? To go for their interview. So those are some of the tweaks that we are making, and we're going to start doing our graduations in the summer. Also, because summer is a better weather in Nebraska, it snows a lot in December. But because we had already promised those who started with us in January that we will celebrate them in December, we are going to go on with it and still and have that celebration in December. Does that answer the question?
Yes. Yes, thanks. And as the idea of even giving them some month to apply is also good, because, like, I think for Nigeria, for the US visa, the queue is so much that they have to wait. For example, I don't think you can get a date for this year again. So for you to apply now, you have to maybe 2025 for you to get an appointment day with the US embassy. So that idea of giving students 2 to 3 months is a very good, it's a welcoming opportunity that will ease the application to visa. And as you have rightly said, in all countries of the world, there's even between university can only give you admission. They don't have right when it comes to visa, issuing visa. The issue of visa belongs to the government and immigration. The jobs of the university end at the point where they gave you the admission. So, but when it comes to you getting the visa, you as an individual, you need to interact effectively with the consular, which will determine your fate. I could even remember there was a time a friend of mine was given scholarship, full scholarship by Rice State University in Ohio, full scholarship. And at the end of the day, it was denying visa.
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, also keep in mind, they actually deny more applicants visas than they actually give visas, right? Even people like you, I'm glad you brought up that example. People who have even full scholarships that are admitted to top elite schools, they are denied visas all the time. And frankly speaking, the gentleman who actually got his visa now, he was denied the first time, to be quite honest. And they told him, look, we don't have evidence of the graduation. Guess what? We didn't have the graduation ceremony on our website yet. So we said, oh, we went back and we posted the graduation on our website to make sure it's there. And then they also told him that he didn't provide accommodation. That where is he going to stay? So we made those two changes. So he went ahead and booked an accommodation, a hotel place here in Lincoln. So he went back with, hey, here's my hotel. And then we gave him another letter saying, this is where he's staying. And we also now included the agenda for the graduation in the letter as well, that we also posted online. And based on that, they gave him the 10-year visa. So yeah, we try to. So our background is like, our school is like a family. We try to work with people, support whenever we can. So it's like a family, So he went the first time we encouraged him. He said, I'm not sure if I want to try again. It's expensive. But he said, I want to try again. Would you support me if I try again? I said, you know what? If you want to try again, we will definitely support you. And we gave him that support. And he is so excited.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. And I want to ask questions as regards the support that students can get. One, the first question as regards the issue of support is that for some students, they are not familiar with online platforms, especially online platforms from learning such as Google Classroom and other LMS, learning management systems. Some students are not familiar with it. For those that are not familiar with it, is there any support for them to be able to catch up with that system and use it so that that will not affect their performance? And then, what are the channels of communications in terms of interaction, feedback system within the university and the registered students? Thank you.
So for the first question, for the online learning system support, the first thing you do when you join will give you a set of instructions to follow to join our orientation platform. That orientation platform allows you to become familiar with Google Classroom. It's very simple, but if you just follow the steps, you become familiar with it. I have to tell you this, Mr. Bamiro, one of the things we are actually learning also is some of our students, or we are not reading. We are not following, we are not reading like simple instructions that are there. Like somebody was asking, oh, how can I get my email? Or how can I activate my email? I said, it's right. We give step by step. Say, go to gmail.com, enter this username, enter this password. It's right there, right? So I'll also actually flip that question and say, we encourage our students to slow down and follow the instruction and read. We sometimes, it's almost like we have ADHD. We are not trying to read. And when we encounter the first challenge, we throw in the towel and start looking for help. Just calm down, just follow the instructions. They're all there. So one of the first assignments in the orientation is how to upload a file, because that's one of the things you're going to do a lot. Once you can do that, then you become familiar. But if for some reason you need help, you have access to our WhatsApp line, the same WhatsApp line that you use to join Osiri University, that remains available for you to always chat with anybody. And we have staff members on that WhatsApp line. We have about 4 staff members who have access to that one WhatsApp line. You could chat and say, okay, I need this, need that, and they can point you in the right direction. If you need IT help, they will connect you to the IT person. You can WhatsApp the IT person, or you can email the IT team, and they can help you as well. Obviously, instructors give clear instructions on the assignments. When you meet them face to face, not face to face, but during the live sessions, you can ask questions. When they grade, they will provide some comments as feedback for you as well. So we have multiple channels for feedback. So for example, for the students who are going for their embassy interviews, the registrar actually prepared letters for them. The registrar prepared letters for all of them who want to go for their visas and gave them each their letters, right? So we have different people doing different things, and the support is there. But let me also emphasize, you have to do your part, right? You have to do your part by following instructions, reading clearly, because I'm sorry to say, some of us are not reading the email. The answer you're looking for is right there in the email, but obviously, we may have skipped it. But that's something we need to work on, actually. If we're going to make a difference, we need to read voraciously, and it begins with reading for our own selves. Back to you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the clarification. Then there's somebody has a question, Mr. Adedeji. He has a question that, do you have MBA or MSc in Islamic finance? Number 1 question. Number 2, do you have online undergraduate degree in library and information science?
So we have an MBA in sustainable business leadership. The MBA requires you to take 9 courses or 9 subjects. One of those subjects is accounting and finance. We call it leading with accounting and finance. It's not Islamic finance. But I will encourage you, if you are interested in Islamic finance, which is also an area I've also even thought about, like I've seen some interesting aspects of Islamic finance that is fascinating, I will encourage you to consider a PhD program and even do research on it, right? So remember, our PhD is multidisciplinary. You can actually enroll, you get your MBA along the way, and then continue to work on your research thesis, and you can actually focus on Islamic finance. There's a lot of reading and materials on that. You know, we want to encourage a lot on indigenous knowledge. So not just Islamic or religious. That is fine if that's what you want to do. By all means, again, I just encourage you to come and do that for your PhD. But also indigenous knowledge. Go back to your roots, where you are from. We want you to make a difference in your own community. There's some knowledge about how things are done in your place that the world needs to see. That's one of the things we are doing at Osiri. One example is Ubuntu. Ubuntu is an African philosophy, and we say we're going to teach the world how to live through the African lens, through the ancient African philosophy of Ubuntu. You know, so we are also learning about Ubuntu. What does it mean? Some of our courses, we weave in Ubuntu into it. So students are studying that. And so go back to your place and figure out, okay, if you're in agriculture, how do you do agric in your place? You know, maybe observe farmers from your town, ask questions, do interviews, excavate some technologies that have come from your place. And that could become part of a project. That could be a presentation. That could be a paper. And I want to encourage you. That is actually what's going to set you apart from everybody else. Everybody wants to go and do the same thing everybody else is doing. You can't compete with an American who's learning hedge funds. I mean, that is what they do here. I'm not saying don't do it if that is your passion. By all means, do it. You know, go and learn how to be a CEO, managing hedge funds, right? That kind of finance and all that stuff. Do it. You know, if you want to learn about stock options, by all means, do it. But in addition to that, or instead of that, how about your own stuff? Maybe research some, education is about discovering new knowledge. So you can bring that out, and even the Americans will start learning about that and say, wow, that's actually interesting, because that is actually how they are responding to our philosophy of Ubuntu. Someone like Professor Kathy Sweet, for example, who's in charge of Montessori. When she heard about Ubuntu, she got excited. It's like, wow, this is so cool. And we are actually exploring now how we're going to combine Ubuntu and Montessori learning, right? Ubuntu and Montessori. In fact, we are starting a school here in the US that is Ubuntu integrated or Ubuntu inspired Montessori school. You see? So, and that's fascinating. And what does that mean? Ubuntu, again, is about humanity to others, working together, community. So we're going to be teaching kids not to be selfish, teaching kids to get common grades. You only get a grade or you get a praise when you work together, you know, to play together, to do things together, right? So those things are very important. And that is what I want to encourage you all to think about as you consider education. That's why we are different. We are a new university. We're bringing something new and refreshing. We're bringing you, we want you to come alive, not just copy everybody else. No, we want you to teach us something from your place. Indigenous knowledge, something from the Yoruba land, something from the Zulu kingdom, something, you know, that the world can see and say, wow, I didn't know about, that's how you guys do things. You know, what is leadership like in the ancient settings from your place? And maybe your government can learn from that leadership style. Anyway, let me shut up there. The other question is about undergraduate degree in library information. No, we don't have that. We have an undergraduate degree in business innovation. It's business innovation. And that degree allows you to have concentration. So even though it's business innovation, just like our PhD is in business innovation, our undergraduate is also in business innovation. And it allows you to say, you can focus in agribusiness, You can focus in entertainment business. You can focus in business intelligence and information systems, right? You can focus in business manufacturing. So that is what our undergraduate degree programs are. We don't have that in particular. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the enlightening session. I think at this point we have been able to exhaust most of the questions. Do we still have any participant that intends or that needs any clarifications as regard the issue of application, joining the university and the likes? And I think at this point, each and every one of us would have had the clear guidance that the university is the recognized university, because for students of the university to have visa, it means that the government understands that the university exists and is legally approved by the government of the United States. So for those of us that we intend to enroll, we can enroll, and we have been told that we have the opportunity to quickly enroll for the programs, and the payment plan has also been explained to us. So let's enroll, because the opportunity you have is now. Tomorrow may be too late for each and every one of us. So we really appreciate our professor for coming around to share the idea of Ubuntu philosophy and that of the Osiri University with us. We equally appreciate each of the participants for attending the question and answer session. We thank you and we appreciate you. And we would like that at the end of the day, this session should be a testimony for each of us that, oh, thank God I attended that session. Thank God I attended the session, and this session made me to sign in for the program. So we expect that each of us endeavor to sign in. I could remember that yesterday, the former governorship aspirant of Lagos State, Mr. Tokpe, he called me to thank me personally for introducing him to the program. Yeah, he called me personally to thank me yesterday. So I think each and every one of us should also endeavor to enroll for the programs so that it can be added to our success story. Thank you.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that point. We actually have a lot of accomplished people who've enrolled at Osiri University. We have medical doctors, we have lawyers, we have lecturers, we have full professors that have enrolled at Osiri University, bankers, engineers. I mean, we have really, and of course, the Honorable Tokbe is one of those people who've also enrolled, and we are very pleased by the caliber of people we've been able to attract. And when they come in, they are really amazed at the quality of education that they are getting. Likewise, I got a text message before this meeting. Well, it came in to our general WhatsApp line, and I was just privy to be looking at it. And this student actually was let me just read this. I won't mention their name. Just said, "Hello, good day. This is," I won't say the name, "a student of Osiri University. It has been an amazing experience with you since January 2024. I have learned a lot from your commitment and dedication, your resilience, power, its understanding. What cannot describe your Ubuntu spirit. Thank you for all that you do." Now, the student has a problem. The problem that the student has is the student doesn't know, I don't know the state of my graduation. Why? Because I have not submitted my transcript. And guess what the student is saying? Due to the amount of money that is required for processing transcript, which I cannot afford. This is just to process transcript. That's how people are suffering, just to process transcript. This student cannot afford. We've done our best. Our best is to, again, lower the barriers, make it easy for them to come in and get education. But I know some universities in Africa, they make it hard. They make you pay a lot of money. Like even the stuff that we pay here is like lunch over here. People, you can $600 a year. People spend that on a lunch. You can go on a lunch for 6 people. You can spend that for lunch, right? But here's a student who've been able to learn with us, but now can't graduate because she doesn't have a means to pay for his or her transcript at her school in Africa. You know, so and we cannot do anything there because we need to see the transcript. It needs to be official transcript before, you know, we can say, okay, yeah, you did give us the official, because we are going to be audited. We are still in the process of accreditation. They will look at all these checks. So we cannot just grant people degrees if they don't show us proof that they actually have their transcript. That's unfortunate. But anyway, but that student, at least I'm happy they've learned a lot. You know, they learned a lot, and but they want to graduate. So I want to use this opportunity to say, look, you need to start working on your transcript. I mean, you have some time. You know, you have about 3 months, 4 months to work on it, and I hope you will get it before you graduate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining the session. So we encourage each and every one of us, for those of us that have not registered, please let's sign in, let's register, and let's enroll for the program, so that by next year, this time, we'll also be giving the testimony that, wow, I'm done with my master's degree. Good, I'm going to the US for convocation. So I think the time is now for each and every one of us. Don't let us procrastinate. Don't let us delay. The time is now for us. Let us enroll today. So thank you. We thank each and every one of us for attending the program. Thank you.
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.